Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the CrossFit Games Update Show. I'm Sean Woodland with Tommy Marquez, Rory McKernan, and Pat Sherwood as we continue to run down our region power rankings. Yesterday, we went through the men's rankings. All the methodology and the system that we came up with is in that show. It is also in an article on the game site, so we will spare you the explanation on that. We're going to jump right into the women's rankings from 17 down to 1. Let's take a look at the bottom 6 regions. In our power rankings, we start with Asia. They are in 17th with 49 total points. 53, the worst score you could get. 51, the worst score you could get. And then 3, the best score you could get. Africa, Latin America, Canada West in 14th. South Central is in 13th. And then Southwest is in 12th place with 34 points. Out of those 6 regions, who do you think has the best chance in 2017 to improve and maybe move up into the top 11?
Well, I think the Southwest could see some improvements behind a stronger performance from Camille at the Games. But in terms of the biggest potential to move up, I think it's Africa. The CrossFit community in the Middle East in particular is growing, and so is the talent pool with it. And then if an athlete like Jamie Green, who won the Open for the women, decides to go individual and qualifies for the Games, she could drastically improve their Games best score. Because right now, they're tied for 15th, which is dead last because them, along with Latin America and Asia, didn't qualify anyone. So just by virtue of having someone at the Games on the individual side could definitely improve them.
Now let's go to spots 11 through 6. And we talked a little bit yesterday about how in this process, we brought some preconceived notions about who was going to be more competitive and who was going to be less competitive. And this is when we start to see the numbers kind of blow those preconceptions up. In number 11, it's Northwest. In 10th, Southern California with 27 points. Mid-Atlantic is 9th. Northern California, 25 total points, puts them in 8th. And then Canada East and the Southeast rounding out 11 through spots number 6. So again, I mentioned the surprise here. Coming into this, and I'm biased, I admit it, by living in California, we'd see all the athletes here. I expected them to be more competitive. Why are Northern and Southern California in the middle here?
I was right there with you. Anytime I hear just California, I think it's going to be dominant, one of the best. Allow me to do some math, if you will, for the viewers at home. So the best score you could have got in the power rankings would be a 1, the worst 17. So right in the middle is kind of an 8.5. That's just your median right there. You've got SoCal coming in at a 10 and NorCal coming in at an 8. So really nowhere near what I expected. I thought at least they'd be in the upper third for sure. Mm-hmm. But I think what I have going on is I'm just trapped in 2013 when, for SoCal specifically, all of our media, most of the hype and the great performances were down there with the Valley girls, right? You still have Becca Voigt competing. I realize that. She's amazing. But Kristen Clever, Lindsay Valenzuela, Katie Hogan, Valerie Vobral, I mean, they were just mopping it up. And I think I was still stuck there. Those times have changed, and California is sliding, and some other people are really taking advantage of that.
You have the Southeast in 6th place, and this is a ranking for them where they get there based on what they do in the Open, but not necessarily what they do at the Games.
Yeah, this one jumped off the page at me. It's so strange to see the discrepancy between their Open scores and then what happens at the actual CrossFit Games. Now, to be fair, we're really just talking about one woman because Emily Bridgers is the only representative at the Games in 2016 from the Southeast. She took 29th place. She scored as high as 6th in the past, but I don't know. I think the Southeast has a lot of work to do to get their women from just being good at the Open to getting back to the Games and actually having some home run potential.
All right, let's look at the final 5, the top 5 teams in the power rankings, and this is where I think we get to see what we expected to see coming in. We started at number 5, Australia. After them, it's Central East with 16 total points, and then we get into the teams, or the regions, with single digits. Remember, 3 is the best score you could have gotten. That means you were first in the 3 categories. North Central, 3rd place, 9 points. Northeast, 2nd place with 7. And then Europe is in 1st with 5 total points. And the European women are a lot like the Northeast men. I mean, they're pretty just dominant across the whole board here.
Yeah, I know they're doing incredible, but I knew they were good.
Sure.
But they are absolutely killing it. They are fantastic. The European men were 2nd in our rankings, and now the women occupying the 1st spot. There's some good stuff going on over there. And the 20th and the 10th place for those worldwide rankings, I mean, they were without peers compared to the other regions. But at the Games, there has been a woman from Europe on the podium every single solitary year since 2010.
Wow.
The good money would say it's probably going to happen again, but there's a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of what have yous over there because rumor around the campfire is Sarah Sigmund's daughter is coming over to the United States. And then Samantha Briggs, I tried to ask her if she's going to go Masters or not. She refused to give me an answer. So who knows what's going on in Europe?
You were the first person to bring this up, Ro, and I mentioned it, but when you look at the top 5 here, this is where the gut feeling matches up with the numbers.
It's maybe the only one, right? So yeah, like you said, sometimes there was the gut feelings. The SoCal didn't quite add up to what you thought it would be. When I look at this women's model, all feels like it's right with the world. It's exactly what I would have expected to see. Of course, you have the top 4 women for the past 2 years who were the same. So their game scores are bringing these down, but I think it's absolutely right. There's nothing on here where I'm like, yes, but I think that this is exactly what I expected.
All right, same question I asked about the men. When you look at these top 5 elite, who has the best chance of maybe falling a little bit?
From that elite group, I think it's Australia. They're in that top group, thanks in large part, actually primarily because of Tia-Clair Toomey's second place finish at the Games, which only gave them 2 points for the Games' best categories. If you look at the other 2 open categories, they're 8th and 9th respectively, which based on Pat's complex computations is middle of the road pretty much. And that's actually where I see a couple of other regions in particular that could kind of catch up some ground if Australia just keeps hanging around in the middle.
All right, that's it for the women's region power rankings. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about the teams. Of course, we want to know what you have to say. Feel free to debate this in the comments section. If you have a better system than ours, we'd love to know about it. We will be back once again tomorrow as we continue this process. For Pat Sherwood, Rory McKernan, and Tommy Marquez, I'm Sean Woodland. We'll see you guys soon.